All right. Okay. Let me pause this before somebody somewhere takes me down. One of y'all. I knew. I knew. I was looking at myself in the cameras before I went live and I was like, I think this is pulled a little bit too far back. And then I said, no, that's fine. Hi, friends. Hello, hello, everybody on Instagram. I'm live on both Instagram and YouTube. I'm going live. Messages from Spirit for the week ahead. My hair looks cute on Instagram. YouTube, it's not that bad. I'm worthy of love. Okay. So, right now, I am about to put on some Om Chakra chants. Hello, hello, my loves. Happy Monday. Hi, Jordan. Hi, hi, hi. Hope that you all are doing amazing, having a great start to your week. It's going pretty good over here. I just got a whole bunch of new crystals that I want to show you before I get into the messages because they're super duper cute and they are helping me a lot actually. So I just got this big thing of citrine, which is really, really beautiful, really, really, really powerful. Ah, sorry to hear that you can't hear me. Oh, okay, perfect, perfect. Happy, happy that it's good and happy that you all can hear me as well. Hi, hi, everybody tuning in. Say hello. Hope you guys are doing amazing. So I got the selenite, which has been really, really, really nice. And then I also got a whole bunch of crystals that are behind my laptop and this is kind of too perfect of a setup for me to get those. So we will go over crystals another time, probably in a video that I post later on YouTube. So we're going to get some messages from Spirit about the week ahead. What personal growth are we moving through collectively right now? What some advice that Spirit has for us. I just got a new deck in the mail. I don't even remember what the name of it is. It is called the, me trying to make sure my boobs are not in either. It's called the Goliath Tarot, I believe is the name of it. Hopefully good news because I need it. It's not going to be messages about what's coming for you this week. It's more so, well, I mean, kind of. It's more so messages about like personal growth, how to navigate through the week. What are you healing or shifting this week? Let's see. All right. Messages coming through from Spirit for the collective for the week ahead. What are we healing through? First card out we have is the Ace of Cups. This is the good news that you were asking for. This is beautiful energy already. Then we have the energy of the Six of Cups, Mercury retrograde. You do have some exes coming back into your life, past relationships. This Mercury retrograde is in Gemini, so you might have a lot of relationships with family members. Gemini energy, third house energy. This is like cousins. This is also siblings. These are also friends with Gemini being associated with the third house. If you were going to reconnect with friends, this would be friends from like elementary, middle, high school, and less friends that you met in college and adulthood and things like that. And then we have the energy of the Five of Swords here. Okay, we're going to pull a couple more. We have the Star, and I absolutely love this deck. I think that the imagery, the symbolism, the illustrations are just absolutely beautiful. Okay, so we have the Three of Cups. And we have the Three of Swords. Okay, so this week, the collective is moving through a little bit of heartbreak. I accidentally switched that. Hold on. Okay. So this week, the collective is moving through a little bit of heartbreak with the heedful mouse, the caution at the bottom of the deck. This is actually really, really interesting. With the Three of Cups, the Three of Swords, the Star, the Five of Swords, the Six of Cups, and the Ace of Cups. The message coming through for the collective is sometimes the best thing to do in the relationship is walk away. And that's really what you're learning this week with the energy of the Star here. So really, we're talking about your friendships. We're talking about those closer relationships that you've had. Again, kind of like I said, siblings, cousins, different things like that. This is not really giving us more of a romantic feel. This is kind of like childhood friends, friends that I've fallen off with, and different things like that. For the collective energy with the Three of Swords showing up, you're so adorable. With the Three of Swords showing up, this is having experienced some sort of heartbreak, having experienced some sort of betrayal. With the energy of Five of Swords, it's time for you to recognize that your fears of being hurt and fears of being betrayed are really starting to get in the way of you developing new love and connection and growing. So you spent so much time doing that inner work after you experienced a heartbreak, right? So you can't really see the illustration that good, but this is a heart. It's kind of like in this um it's like a glass casing with these spikes around it, and then we have this tree which has really really deep roots. And so, looking at this, it's like somebody has gone through great lengths to protect this heart, and still there are swords that have managed to obviously break through the glass and impair this heart. And so, after you experience that heartbreak, you go within yourself, you do the healing work, the introspective work, the oh, okay, what went wrong in this situation? How can I make it better? What wounds were being triggered, etc., etc. And then you've tried to create and set better boundaries so that you can avoid that heartbreak happening again. For the collective, it's kind of time for you to start realizing that certain things, certain hurts are kind of inevitable in your relationships. And what we mean when we say that certain hurts are inevitable in your relationships is not that you should be in relationships with people that hurt you. You should be in relationships that with people that backstab you and different things like that. It's about recognizing that we can't control other people. We can't control how they interpret the things that we say. And because we can't control how they interpret the things that we say, the things that we say can accidentally hurt people and wound them. For the collective this week, what you're focusing on is having resolve in your relationships. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. When I said that thing, it's kind of like depending on where you are on the spectrum. Some of you are on the side of realizing, oh, when I said that thing, I didn't mean to hurt you, but I did. And I apologize for hurting your feelings. A lot of us have kind of been taught this mixed message when it comes to giving apologies. And they're kind of showing me, like, if y'all have seen Harry Potter, you know, Dobby is his name. I think I'm pretty sure the little elf, whenever he makes a mistake, or there's like a specific scene, whatever, he makes a mistake and then he starts like really, really beating himself up. And then Harry's just kind of like, whoa, like this is really intense. It's okay. You just made a mistake. So that's another kind of sub lesson. Dobby, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but you know what I'm talking about. Thank you. Um, so you're just kind of recognizing sub lesson that it's okay for you to make mistakes, and you're going to make mistakes in your interpersonal relationships. A lot of you have really really toxic relationships with your family members, relationships wherein there kind of was no resolve, right? And so this is when you are getting into it with someone, you apologize, you have a conversation about it, and then they bring it up again at a later date. Ah, you're super duper welcome. And then they bring up that conflict again at a later date. They kind of throw it back in your face. This is recognizing that that dynamic isn't a healthy one, because what that dynamic does is it reinforces the idea that you're not allowed to make mistakes. When you find yourself in relationship dynamics like that, where somebody is bringing up things that have happened in the past, or you're the person that are bringing up things that have happened in the past, that means that those events hadn't really been truly talked about or worked through all of the way. And so for those of you who are on the other side, those of you who are experiencing the hurt, the heartbreak, the betrayal, trying to find resolve with others, you are recognizing that it's kind of your duty to sit with yourself and ask yourself, why am I feeling hurt? Why am I feeling betrayed? So recently, I reconnected with an old friend, not somebody who I had like fallen out and had a whole big conflict with, just somebody that I kind of fell off with. We're reconnecting now, repairing that relationship, building that relationship, committing to maintain that friendship with one another. And so, we were talking, and she was talking about something that she had seen in one of my posts back, a couple months ago versus the post and the content that I'm creating now, and how it's much more authentic to me, yada yada. And she had made a comment trying to tell me that she really loved my authenticity that was coming out right now, and how that was super advantageous and amazing to the work that I'm doing. And the way that I had interpreted her comment was as her basically not loving and accepting me when I was showing up previously. And so after we had finished having that conversation, I could have kind of done one of two things. I could have gone down that rabbit hole of, oh my God, I can't believe that she said that. I can't believe that she did that. How could she do this? Blah, 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 blah. She's betraying me. She's hurting me. But instead, I went down the different path, the path of really understanding yourself more, that emotional intimacy with yourself, understanding where your emotions are coming from. And I was like, okay, why is this upsetting me? Why is what she just said upsetting me? So I had to figure out, what need was I not getting met for my interpersonal relationships? What need was I not getting met when she said that? And I recognized that the need that I wasn't getting met was my need to feel unconditionally loved and accepted. It wasn't the fact that somebody possibly hadn't resonated with my content a couple of months ago. Hello in Madrid, my love. Mwah. I was just thinking about you. How are you? It wasn't that I was upset with the fact that my content might not have resonated with her or with them in the past couple of months. It was the fact that the way that I perceived it, the way that I felt would hurt my feelings was, your content a couple of months ago wasn't that good, or I didn't love it, or I like you better when you show up this way. And so I had to recognize that that was the need that I wasn't getting met. And then what did I need to make myself feel better? So we're really good with recognizing when our feelings are getting hurt, when we're feeling offended. And what we're just learning now is, you also are the person who's in charge of figuring out how to make yourself feel better. And this is one of those things you did not learn in your childhood. Your parents didn't teach you how to identify your feelings and find resolve. Your parents kind of just beat you and hurt you and yelled at you and screamed at you until you stopped crying and became more numb, and different things like that. You know what I mean? And so now you naturally have this response to experiencing hurt and pain, where you go within yourself, and then you kind of go back down that spiral of the stories you've been telling yourself. So now it's about recognizing, you have to show up and say, hey, this need wasn't being met in our relationship. When you said this kind of made me feel neglected. This made me feel hurt. This made me feel rejected. This made me feel ostracized. And then it's, what do I need to move forward? In that situation, the only thing that I needed from her was to let her know, was to actually talk to her about it, because I knew that she didn't have bad intentions. I knew that she didn't mean it in that way. But for me and my personal growth, excuse me, I needed to have that conversation as I'm learning to become more expressive of my emotions. Because what we're recognizing in the collective right now is that when you aren't expressing your emotions and expressing what you need and teaching that other person how to love you, that's when you build resentments. That's when you build passive aggressiveness. That's when you are going within yourself, talking to other people, and reaffirming those old stories about being ostracized, not good enough, unworthy of love, etc., etc. You're recognizing that that direct communication without fear is the key to building that emotional intimacy and closeness in your relationships, with the 6 of Cups and the 3 of Cups here. Some of you have the potential to have beautiful relationships with the energy of the Ace of Cups coming out. The only thing that's stopping you from developing these beautiful, close relationships is the fact that you still haven't learned how to have that proper problem resolved. And when you don't understand that problem resolved, is when you walk away from relationships because they hurt you, because they kept doing the thing that you didn't like. But it's about recognizing, hi, good morning. A lot of people don't recognize that they're hurting your feelings. A lot of people don't recognize that. Why? Because we're not in charge of how other people interpret the things that we say. You're starting to recognize that the way that you interpret the things that people say to you is going to go in alignment with the stories that you're telling yourself. For example, a couple of years ago, back when I was in college, I was on the subway riding home from school with one of my friends. And this is like the beginning of my spiritual journey, whatever. There was a woman on the subway who was looking at my friend, and my friend was like, oh, why is this woman, looking at me like this? Like, what is her problem? And what I said to my friend was, well, what if she just thinks that you're so beautiful that she can't look away? And my friend was like, wow, I never thought about that. That's a really beautiful perspective to have. You're recognizing that your previous wounds and your previous heartbreaks are heavily impacting your perception and the stories that you tell yourself, the way that you perceive events is, and we don't want to say that it's off, it's your own reality. The only way for you to get out of this reality and start telling yourself new stories is if you start having these conversations. And of course, you're scared of the conversations. It's time for you to validate yourself. Of course, you're scared of confrontation. Of course, you're scared of having those conversations. In my household, there was no such thing as conflict resolution. In my household, if there was an argument going on between my siblings, between my brothers, they were fist fighting. There was no talking about our emotions. There was no identifying the sadness underneath. And then there was fist fighting and all of that intensity. And then there was just kind of nothing. And then we were, we're supposed to be a family, whatever, we just move it forward. My family doesn't know conflict resolution. If one of my aunts says something that my mom perceives as hurtful, she goes and talks to the other aunts about how hurtful that was, instead of talking to my aunt, giving my aunt the opportunity to provide the clarity that she needs so that they can have more of that distance in the relationship. You're kind of recognizing, okay, I'm ready to walk away from my family style of communicating. I just didn't learn how to have conflict resolve in relationships. For the collective, it's time for you to recognize that having conflict is an opportunity for intimacy. Instead of viewing conflict as an opportunity for pain and heartbreak, resolving conflict is an opportunity to build intimacy. Every single time I experience conflict in one of my relationships, if I sit down and I can have a conversation with that person, I can develop a greater understanding of them and where they're coming from, what their needs are in a relationship, and how I can meet them. You're recognizing in the collective that in all of your relationships with people, you're teaching them how to love you. In all of your relationships with people, you are teaching them how to love you. And there is no such thing as not having to teach someone how to love you. A lot of us very much have this romanticized idea of love and relationships where you just meet somebody and it's just perfect and amazing. And that's just kind of not how it works. And so this is why your self-love work is super incredibly important, because if you don't love yourself, if you don't know how to love yourself, you don't know how to take care of yourself, then of course you don't know how to teach somebody else to love you. And so this kind of looks like setting boundaries, stuff like that. A lot of y'all are terrified of this conflict of speaking your mind because a lot of the authority figures, your parents, your mother, and oh, Jesus, that is loud. A lot of the authority figures in your life, your parents, your mother might have used opportunities for you to get clarity as bait. Okay, so it's about recognizing you have a feeling of danger surrounding conflict and conflict resolution. Give me 1 second. Yes. Okay. So you're just recognizing conflict resolution. So now we want to talk about building trust in your relationships. How do you build trust for the collective? It's really, really important for you to learn how to build trust. You build trust in relationships by being open and honest. There is a lot of manipulation and control in your relationships that doesn't need to be there. You don't need to constantly worry about how somebody is feeling and what they're thinking if you have trust. If I trust that this person is going to come to me and speak to me whenever they feel some type of way, whether it be good or bad, I don't have to worry about where I stand in a relationship with them because I trust what they have to say. It's about recognizing these are things, it's 1111, that are built throughout time. These are things that are built over time. Intimacy in relationships are something that is built over time. You want to find those friendships that feel good with the Six of Cups energy. This is that they're singing started when we were younger. You were my boo. Building that intimacy and your friendships and your relationships comes after a long time, after years of knowing people. I reconnected with an old friend from my childhood, from high school recently, and it is so amazing the way that we kind of just still understand each other's temperaments as even though we are still growing and changing and shifting, fundamentally, we are still the same. Fundamentally, we still love the same, right? So we already kind of know each other's needs, how to show up for each other. And it's even better because we're learning how to communicate, et cetera, et cetera. Now I feel better in my relationships than ever before. When I had that conversation with my friend, letting her know that it hurt my feelings when she had made that comment, after she apologized, I felt good. And I recognized that I was used to having this feeling every single time I would hang up from someone, every single time I would walk away from a friend, from connecting with people. I always had this feeling of like resentment. There was just kind of this underlying tone of resentment in all of my relationships. And it's because I was never communicating my desires. I was never communicating my needs. I was never standing up for myself. And it's recognizing that a lot of y'all feel this way and just don't want to acknowledge it because you don't understand how to navigate through it from here. It's about recognizing you need to start having those talks and those conversations so you can build those relationships, maintaining them over time. That's the intimacy that you're looking for. That's the best friend who you can call and go, oh my God, remember this thing that I started manifesting all of those years ago? I finally got it now. And then they're singing Rihanna, I'll drink to that. So this week, there is a big focus on more intimacy with yourself and others. When you find yourself feeling upset about something, ask yourself, what need of mine is not being met in this situation? And what do I need to do to feel better? And then you try a whole bunch of different things until you find the thing that soothes you. You do that enough, you become attuned enough to yourself that you know when you're feeling upset, okay, I'm going to do this. I need this right now. That would soothe me. It's recognizing you're definitely teaching other people how to love you in every single relationship that you get into. And you run into trouble when you assume that other people are going to know how to love you. It does not work. You're recognizing that communication needs to be the basis for all of your relationships. Circling back before we finish up this week's message, you're also recognizing that with the energy of the Five of Swords, some relationships are better to walk away from. Because now that you're on this journey of learning how to have truth and trust in a relationship, in order to have a relationship with you, I really need trust. That's a really big need for me. And so if I don't trust you, if I don't trust that you're going to be honest, I get to decide, you know what? I see that what you need is somebody who can walk on the journey with you to learning how to build that trust in relationships. I don't think that I want to be that person. And if you're on the other end of that, where somebody doesn't want to be the person who walks with you on your journey to building healthy, trusting relationships, you also recognize, okay, this isn't the person that's going to meet my needs. All right, inner being, I am now calling in all of the people, all of the friends, all of the romantic partners, et cetera, who are willing to walk with me on this journey to healthy love relationships, to genuine, authentic connection, to deeper intimacy. You're recognizing that with this interpersonal trauma, a lot of us really go about this shit the wrong way. You experience heartbreak and hurt and pain. And of course, you want to retreat into yourself to do the healing thing. If this message is resonating with you, you've already done that. You've already done the healing thing. You've already gone within yourself. You're already doing the self love. You're already trying to figure out what your needs are, how to love yourself better than you've ever loved yourself before. You're already there. You get to a certain point in your journey, you're healing interpersonal trauma. You can't do that by yourself. You don't do all of the healing work by yourself. As a human being, you were a part of an interdependent species. It's time for you to recognize love and connection is really important to you. Love and connection is something that you 100% do need. And a lot of us who experience codependency, who experience that really intense passion, obsession relationship, when you recognize that you no longer want those relationships, it can feel terrifying to go out on your own or to start healing because there's this misconception that you have to be alone for that. And the answer is that you do not. You get to heal your interpersonal trauma with other people. In fact, you need other people to do this. For the collective, you're just learning how to trust others and trusting others to be truthful with you. You've got to recognize that an aspect of you is not being truthful with yourself. You're not being truthful with others when you're telling them that you're okay and you're not okay. You're not being truthful with others when you're not communicating your needs. You're not being truthful with others when you are not teaching people how to love you better and are instead going within yourself, going on and on and on about how people aren't doing it right. Okay. You need other people. You want other people. It's okay to want other people in this journey. You're no longer looking at relationships from the perspective of somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. I want to make sure I'm the person who gets hurt the absolute least. You're no longer looking at relationships like that. You're looking at relationships in the way of, I want both of us to get our needs met. If either one of us cannot meet the needs of the other person, then that means that we're incompatible. And because both of us deserve to have our needs met in a relationship, we're going to go our separate ways and align with people who can meet our needs. Because you're recognizing in the collective, you deserve to get your needs met. That's the bottom thing that you're healing and shifting through this week. You deserve to get your needs met. You deserve the relationships where there's trust and where there's intimacy. You deserve the relationships where communicating your needs and, oh, I actually would prefer if you didn't joke with me like that. That hurts my feelings, where that becomes second nature, where it's no longer a huge blow to somebody else's ego. People setting boundaries is only a blow to your ego when you're dealing with enmeshment trauma and you're not allowed to set your own boundaries for yourself. And yeah. So for those of you healing that, that's just what that is. It's no big deal. You're just learning a new way to communicate and establish love and connection. That's really all that I've got for the collective. This is really, really beautiful energy. You've got lots of new love coming in. You're recognizing that the money, the status, the job, et cetera, really doesn't mean anything if you're not getting that genuine love and connection. And a lot of y'all have been holding other people at a distance. You haven't been allowing in that love because of the fear that you feel of that coming back up. They're saying the last thing, for those of you who don't understand that energy of forgiveness, forgiveness happens. Oh, I'm so happy that this is resonating with you. Forgiveness is something that happens naturally in your relationships. It's just a natural consequence of getting out all of your emotions and all of your feelings. And so if you find that you're the person who is always bringing up the past, that means that you have not properly process that. So it's really, really important that you learn how to process your emotions by yourself and with the help of your partners and your friends so that you can have these beautiful, amazing relationships that are awaiting you because you really, really want this. And there is just this really big fear that you have that you're going to be trapped, that you're going to be trapped. This is also a little kind of side note for those of you who are. It's almost afraid of, oh, that's what it is. You're afraid of being backstabbed. You're afraid that people don't actually have good intentions, that people don't actually want to love you. The message here is you really honestly don't know unless you give them the chance. Relationships, love, and connection becomes a lot scarier as you move through this journey of learning how to do it in a healthy way. When you start off your relationships with openness and honesty, that transparency, building that intimacy, speaking your needs and teaching that other person how to love you, it's very, very obvious who wants to love you and who just wants sex. It's very, very obvious who doesn't want to be a genuine, authentic friend to you. So it's recognizing that there is a little bit of fear there when it comes to love and connection. Of course, there is. You don't have to force yourself to not be afraid. That's not fair to you. Um, I literally have sat here. This is really, really important for those of you who have experienced a break in the bond with your mother. No, that's going to be a post later on. So I'm not going to go all the way. But for those of you who have experienced a break in the bond with your mother and you attract men who hate women, they're mirroring the aspect of you that has rejected your mom, who has rejected women, who's also rejected yourself. That's the reason you attract the snake friends. That's the reason you attract the girls not being so supportive of other girls. You have rejected women. And so you have to recognize that an aspect of you also hates women. And because you hate women and you are a woman, an aspect of you hates yourself. For those of you doing self sabotaging, integrating this aspect of you, understanding, connecting with, instead of automatically rejecting. No, I can't hate women. No, that's not okay. No, that's not feminist. No, that's not good. Instead of getting into all of that judgmental shit, can you sit with yourself and go, of course I hate women? Like, 100%. You can have your higher perspective of universal oneness. Everybody is worthy. It's 1122. Everybody is worthy of unconditional love. And I absolutely unconditionally love and accept myself. But the aspect of you that has been neglected and backstabbed by women doesn't give a fuck about universal oneness. The aspect of you that only wanted love and acceptance from your mother and didn't get that, but instead got criticism and hurt and pain and neglect and ostracization, of course you hate your mom. Does this mean that you overall as a person can't love your mom? Does this mean you can't have a good relationship with her? Does this mean that that aspect of you has to 100% run your life? No, but you need to acknowledge it because right now it's running your relationships. It's the reason you keep attracting abusive men. It's the reason you keep attracting friends, other women who don't want to see you succeed because they also hate themselves and therefore hate you. You need to acknowledge that aspect of you because that aspect of you is the aspect that's terrified of love and connection. That aspect of you is the aspect of you that's terrified of building those relationships and friendships with women. Sit down and think about your life. Of course, an aspect of me hates women. The first woman who I was supposed to be connecting with, unbreakable bond, my mother dropped me when I was already sick as a newborn baby. Is that somebody that you're supposed to love? Is that something that's supposed to make me happy? No, of course not. And so, why would I lie to myself and bulldoze over that aspect of myself and force myself to be in that energy and space when I'm not ready? It's okay. I know that me completely loving and accepting my mother is something I will experience down the line. Right now, I get to feel my emotions. We did it last night, but still. You need to allow yourself to feel those emotions. You need to think about all of the times you were backstabbed by women. Of course, I don't trust women. Of course, every single time a woman comes into my life to be my friend, I'm wondering, how is this bitch gonna backstab me next? Of course, I'm wondering, how is this person going to talk about me behind my back? Of course, I'm wondering, how is this person going to spread rumors and lies about me? Of course, I'm wondering, how is this person going to put all of my business onto the street? Of course, that's a fear that I have. And you're doing yourself an injustice, a disservice when you're trying to force yourself to, no, I'm all loving. No, everything is perfect. No, I love all women. No, when in reality, an aspect of you doesn't. An aspect of you doesn't trust women. And this is one of the biggest reasons why you don't trust yourself. This is one of the biggest reasons why you don't trust yourself to move in your own best interest because you don't trust women to move in your own best interest. Sit with that aspect of you, validate that aspect of you so that you can integrate, love, and accept that aspect of you so that it's no longer running your life, manifesting situations where you have friends who are backstabbing you. You can't trust them. Okay. You're learning how to build relationships with trust, loving and accepting this aspect of you. Major, major, major key. And I suppose if you were a man who experienced a break in the bond with your father, oh yeah, that definitely would apply as well. So, it's breaking the bonds with your parents. You understand, hopefully, what I am saying. Okay. Lots of healing going on this week for interpersonal trauma. I absolutely love this energy. I love this message for the collective. Let me know if this is resonating with y'all. If you want to work with me one on one, links to do so are in the bio of the YouTube and are linked in the bio on my Instagram. I love you all so much. I am so happy that you needed to hear that. I am so, so happy that it's resonating for y'all over on Instagram as well. I'm going to get off of here now, and I will be back next week with another The Week Ahead video. Love y'all. Bye.